Welcome to podcast 43. Yes, 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 maybe, but yes.
And we are recording. We're back with another episode of podcast 43. Chris, how have you been?
I've been really good. I've been just, watching a lot of Woody Allen films, which I will be talking about for the sole purpose of for the sole satisfaction of completion. I'm watching every single one of this man's films, and quite a lot of interesting twists and turns along the way that I've found. I'm about 20 films in, still not even halfway there, but what about you, Fulton?
I've been okay. It's been a busy week, but I did get a chance to go to the theaters, and instead of seeing something like that you would think I would go see, I said, you know what, I kind of want to see something just for the pure satisfaction of entertainment. And so I went to go see Chaos Walking, which is the long, I guess you could say long awaited. It's been in the making, or it has been shot, and they've waited to release it up until now. It's been kind of stuck in limbo here and there.
Would you say they dumped it to theaters?
I can see why in a normal, in a normal year where this film might not do amazing. I don't really know how it's performed this year due with the pandemic, but I would assume it did okay. Just because of the lack of of movies in movie theaters right now, but we're getting a little bit better. But I don't think it's terrible. Don't get me wrong. It's not a phenomenal film. Like, I think it's an interesting concept. Matt Mikkelsen is surprisingly a villain in this one, which is kind of different from everything else that he's ever done, So he's not really the villain in other movies, but in this movie he's a villain. Tom Holland is fine. Daisy Ridley is fine. I don't think she gets the credit she deserves. I think she's a good actress. I think it's a fine film. I know I say that a good bit, but I really don't think it's terrible. It's an interesting concept.
They spent $100 million on this film.
You wouldn't be able to tell. The production I mean, they spent 100 million on it for real. Is that include
it's only made 16 million so far at the box office.
I'm like, it's it feels a movie separated from the time it probably should have came out. I feel like it's one of the stragglers of like the young adult kind of craze, right? Because I believe it was adapted from a young adult novel, and I could be wrong.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah,
it is, and it totally feels in that vein of like like the Hunger Games and Divergence. It feels up to that level of quality, which I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it is so reminiscent of all those other films in terms of like tone and feeling. But I guess the key thing that if you can take away, or that I took away, is that it's really funny. There's like this one like settlement called like Farm Ranch or something, but everyone in the film, when they pronounce it, it sounds like they're saying Fart Ranch. So that was pretty entertaining for the little bits that come up. But
yeah, that's what's nice about the theater. You probably wouldn't have thrown that on if it just came out on Netflix, right? You just wanted that experience. Not as many people, were talking about, Bright when that came out on Netflix, which is similarly a lot of CGI bullshit put on the screen, smeared on the screen.
Was that one written by Max Landis?
It was.
Okay.
The
Had to think about that for a second.
shameful son of somebody who is also probably even more shameful.
I came across his YouTube again, Max Landis, and he's got an interesting YouTube. He seems to have turned into a better person, but you never know. I mean, I don't know him. I just know of the things that he said and the things that he has done in the past. But he's very passionate about his Superman comic book stuff that he's like working on.
Yeah, I mean, well, he does have, he's the product of nepotism. Like, one thing that I want to touch upon before we get kind of into other things that we talk about is son of Tom Hanks, Chet Hanks. As you're familiar, I bet, Fulton, he declared that it would be White Boy Summer this year.
I mean, he's such a legend, man. I mean, kudos to him. He's really knocking it out of the park this year with being like a complete personality, you know. I mean,
but not a NASCAR Trump White Boy Summer, more like a Jack Harlow type White Boy Summer. So look out for that. It's still amazing that he's related to Tom Hanks.
He's not at all what you would expect him to be.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's so fascinating about it.
He just does.
For people who might not know, go to his Twitter and check out some of the videos.
Instagram.
Yeah.
He's a real character that he is. But yeah, what have you been watching? Have you seen anything else, Fulton?
Yes.
Other than Chaos Walking that you want to talk about?
I only got to see one other film because, like I said, it's been a little bit busy for me this week. That was Eric Andre's new film, Bad Trip, which I can say is very. It I could draw comparisons between that and Chaos Walking in the in the sense that it's a film from another time. Right. You used to, like, back in the early 2000s, and I guess you could say, the 2010s, and, you have like these prank movies, these live action prank movies and stunt movies, which I would honestly throw Action Point in a little bit as like a straggler from that kind of like,
but Action Point's more
movie.
scripted though.
Yeah, but I feel like, well, I haven't seen it. I've only seen the trailer. I only mean from like the stunt angle of it. But Bad Trip is also scripted to a certain extent. It's got a loose plot to kind of get you through from prank to prank and however you want to look at it. So like Bad Grandpa-esque, where they have to I don't even remember in Bad Grandpa if they have to go on a road trip, but you have Eric Andre and Rel, I'm forgetting his last name, and then
Rel Howery, I think, Lil Ray Howery.
Yeah. And they're kind of the core of the movie, and then you also have Tiffany Haddish, which plays like the villain of the movie, which I gotta say, I thought she was probably the more funny person, or more funny. I thought she was pretty funny in the movie, which kind of surprised me because I don't think she's bad at being a comedic actress. I've just like never taken like any attention, or I haven't like seen too many of her films, but in this film, I actually thought she was pretty funny. But yeah, it's, if you want the kind of Jackass-esque and, Johnny Knoxville films that he used to make, this is in a similar lane. I mean, it's okay. So,
hey, I mean, I've been waiting for this movie for, it seems like, an eternity.
Yeah, I think they said sorry.
What?
I think Eric said that he's been trying to make it for like 7 years or something.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, like he I remember it leaked on Amazon Prime by accident a while. And then Netflix bought the rights, and they just didn't release it until now.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I'll definitely be checking that one out. I'm always excited to see what creative prospects Eric Andre has lined up.
It is gross out humor. Um, so there's some good bits there. I don't think I'm like over the moon about it, but I wonder if he works better in, I don't know. My biggest thing about those movies and like stuff with Bad Grandpas, I always felt like the scripted part kind of like held the film back to me. It kind of always did. Um,
That's why Borat 2 falls flat so much, because
yeah, it's
it's
so
so
scripted.
overly manufactured.
Yeah. And to a certain extent, I would say that with this movie. And I also wonder if Hannibal Buress was supposed to play opposite of on Eric, just because I know they kind of have a good kind of comedic pairing. But I looked it up. I couldn't find any like information where either of them had talked about working on the film together. Um, so yeah, but and I'm glad it's out because it is a passion project for him to a certain extent that he's really been wanting to do. So I'm glad that he was able to get it, and it's performing really well. It's like number one on Netflix, and I think it's done really well just in terms of like all the streaming services, but they don't release their numbers, so we'll really
Never
never have
know.
any. No, yeah,
It's
but
just in the top 10.
yeah. So, they could skew that thing too as well. But I don't know. But what else have you been watching, Chris?
Well, I think I want to talk about. I guess I want to discuss Irrational Man,
Yeah.
the Woody Allen film.
Hmm.
Uh, it came out in 2015. I don't know if you heard of this one. It's got Joaquin Phoenix in it and Emma Stone.
It's been on my watch list.
It's really good. I think of his 2010s output that I've seen, it's probably second best after Blue Jasmine, probably. But
Hmm.
it's just like Joaquin Phoenix is just a he's just like literally the Joker. Like it's literally just Joaquin Phoenix as a Joker professor, in the same vein as, like, I would say it's like the first evolution of Joaquin Joker was probably The Master, the Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
Hmm.
And then you have Irrational Man, and then you have Todd Phillips's Joker. Uh,
So what you're telling me is it's a trilogy, right?
it's my trilogy, my Joaquin Phoenix trilogy.
Hmm.
And so there's just a lot of interesting concepts at play. I don't really want to spoil too much, but I think that it's a great performance from Joaquin Phoenix as a psychopath.
Is it on
And
Amazon?
no, it's not on Amazon,
Okay.
unfortunately. The Amazon Woody Allen movies are Cafe Society and Wonder Wheel, which I did
Mm-hmm.
watch Cafe Society this week too, but I don't really think it's that remarkable. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's worth talking about, really.
I get you.
Um, because I was blowing through those Allen joints this week. Uh and I'd say one that should be definitely on the top of everyone's list is Sweet and Lowdown with Sean Penn, and he's a fictional jazz guitarist from the 30s, and it's done in kind of like a semi documentary style, where they have like a bunch of jazz historians and stuff talking about all these different facts and different stories about this character. And I think that Sean Penn does a great job. He's just like this really weird dude that's like obsessed with like shooting rats in alleys and like staring at trains. Like he'll be like hanging out with like a woman and trying to like impress her, and he'll be like, he'll get really drunk, and then he'll be like, you wanna look at trains? You wanna shoot rats? I
Sounds like a
think that
great night.
I think Sean Penn actually won an Oscar for that movie.
Oh wow.
So yeah. And I'll, a non-Allen pick though. was the film, the Maisels brothers film, Grey Gardens, which was great. It's kind of you've probably heard of Grey Gardens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So done in their direct approach to documentary filmmaking. uh I love Salesman. I think Salesman's one of my favorite documentaries probably. And similarly, this is just kind of uninterrupted footage of just two kind of very interesting women that live in the Hamptons that are kind of that are just shut in, and they just yell at each other, and it's kind of chaotic, but it seems to be at first you think, I don't know, at first I kind of felt sorry for them, like I felt sad, but and I didn't really understand if their angle was the Maisels brothers angle was more exploitative. But I think that after I thought about it a little bit, it seemed like they were happy. They're quite well off. They just didn't really want to conform to anything, and they were clearly right. They clearly seemed to be like at least mostly there, like mentally, like they seem to be quite well off, and that's just kind of how they wanted to live in this kind of unique living situation where
it is quite unique from the photos that I've seen.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And it's really funny, especially that they're related to Jackie Kennedy.
Oh, I didn't know that. The only thing, that one's been on my watch list too. I've seen the documentary Now parody of it, and then I know that there's a film based on the documentary, but I forget if it's Drew Barrymore or Kate Winslet.
It's Drew Barrymore.
It's
yeah,
Drew Barrymore
and Jessica Lange, I believe. I think it was an HBO film. But I
don't
did immediately rewatch the documentary Now episode after I watched Grey Gardens, it's so good. But yeah, I guess there was just like, other things that I watched that maybe I can just touch upon briefly. Like Midnight in Paris is an Allen film that a lot of people seem to really enjoy. I didn't really like it too much. It's just kind of Owen Wilson walking around Paris and name dropping 20s artists and being like, wow, I can't believe it's Ernest Hemingway. Wow, that's crazy. And like,
that sounds awesome. I thought when you were talking about the his 2010s output, I thought you were going to talk about that one, but that one's late 2000s, isn't it?
No, it's 2011.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the late 2000s Allen that's a weird time. Because I watched Scoop with Scarlett Johansson, and that one's like Scarlett Johansson's like this journalist student, and she's obsessed with like getting this massive story, and Ian McShane is like this journalist that dies, and like he's being told on the way to like the next life or whatever by somebody that said that was also like, it's shown as like a boat that they're all floating on towards the next life. And so Ian McShane's there with some woman, and she's like, yeah, I got poisoned. I think I know who like the tarot card killer is, which is like this like serial killer going around London. It's kind of supposed to be like a Jack the Ripper type thing. And so she tells him all this information about who she thinks it is, and like how she was poisoned. And then Ian McShane just kind of like appears like in front of Scarlett Johansson, is like, I know who the killer is. Like it's blah blah blah, and then he just disappears. And then like he'll just show up like every now and then, and it's real, and it's pretty stupid. Like you have to suspend belief a little bit to be like, yeah, this is I think this is totally cool and believable and done in a way that like makes sense. But
oh,
but
sounds
it's one of the few.
Yeah,
I mean, it's on HBO.
Yeah.
I mean, check it out. I mean, there's some good things about it, but like,
In terms of, I mean, the man has so many films. I mean, not everything can, you know.
definitely has the most. It's one of the few Allen films that doesn't have anything to do with infidelity, though.
That's good.
Yeah.
He took a step away from it only to return back.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh,
Well, that's all I'll really say. I mean, I don't want to talk about The Apartment because I think everybody already knows a good bit about The Apartment, and that, yeah, it's a good movie. So watch
mhm.
The Apartment.
Is that another Allen one?
No, that's the Billy Wilder movie from the 60s, the with Shirley MacLaine and Jack Lemmon and
I
Fred
haven't heard of that
McMurray.
one yet.
Really?
Yeah, I might
Oh,
recognize the poster if I saw it, but I'll have to look at it after the recording. Well, are you ready to jump into the news?
let's do it. Yeah.
Um, so I kind of broke it up a little bit to make it a little bit easier. So we'll go over the trailers that came out over the past week since the last recording, and then we'll hop into like all like the casting news and delays and all that type of jazz. Um, the Night House trailer has dropped. It is from David Bruckner, who previously did The Ritual. It will star Rebecca Hall, and it's kind of like a psychological thriller that will be out July 16th. Guy Ritchie has a new movie coming out called Wrath of a Man. That will star Jason Statham. It will also have Scott Eastwood, and will also have Post Malone in a small appearance. um, which that movie is out May 7th, so he's not showing any signs of slowing down. I didn't even know he had a new movie coming out.
I mean, if
Besides,
anybody saw Peter Berg's Spencer Confidential, you just need to watch the opening scene where Post Malone fights Mark Wahlberg.
oh, that's well. The funny thing about it is because my parents are watching that movie, and I came in and I saw that it was Post Malone, and he's in prison, and I'm pretty sure from the clips that I've seen of this movie, Post Malone is he's still in prison.
Poor
In
guy.
this one. So that movie will be out May 7th. James Gunn's Suicide Squad film just got a full like trailer, red band trailer, whatever you want to call it. That movie will be out August 6th, and that'll be out on HBO Max and theaters same day, which it looks interesting.
They're putting
Um,
Steely Dan in my. They're putting my Steely Dan in their cape shit. Get the fuck out of there. Take it out.
yeah, I think it may have revealed too much for me. And then I also have a feeling that the first time I watched it, I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know about the humor in it. I was like, maybe it'll work better in context. And then I watched it again. I was like, yeah, it's okay. It's very um James Gunn, which it's his type of humor.
Yeah, it's
Um In the Earth, which is Ben Wheatley's new film, which he shot during the pandemic, which I don't know if this will surprise anyone, but it's a psychological thriller in the woods, so it's pretty in vein with his earlier stuff. It will have a UK release June 18th, and there's no word yet on like a video on demand release, to my knowledge, or a US release. So he's moving forward with his next film. So maybe it might be, it might be able to give me and Chris something to look forward to. I know we were harsh on A Field in England, but you know maybe
we'll
he
give
can
him another
surprise us.
shot. Yeah.
um,
Doubtful, but
yeah,
yeah.
but we'll see. There's a new film called Limbo, which is by Ben Sharrock. I hope I pronounced that one right. But he had a personal experience working on a refugee camp, and this film is based off that experience, and it will be out on Mubi on July 30th, and it also is also getting a UK release, I think, earlier than the movie release, but I don't know if it'll get a US release besides Mubi. And then lastly, there's The Stowaway, which is a film by Joe Pena. Penna. It stars Anna Kendrick and Toni Collette, and it will be kind of like a space crew thriller. And that'll be out on April 22nd on Netflix. And then now in the news, Russell Crowe joins Thor: Love and Thunder. So that film keeps adding on huge name after huge name. Aaron Sorkin's Being the Ricardos, which is I guess his Lucille Ball kind of biopic.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
Lucy, yeah.
A Lucille Ball biopic written by Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah, it adds Tony Hale, Aaliyah Salkat, Nina Arianda, and J.K. Simmons to the cast. Black Adam is got a release date for July 2020. Ugh. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
That's all good.
I'm tripping over my words. Black Adam has a release date for July 2022. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm saying something wrong.
No, Black Adam, it comes out July 2022.
Yeah, sorry. They will have The Rock and Pierce Brosnan. The Rock will play Black Adam and Pierce Brosnan will play Dr. Fate.
Well, I mean, I didn't even know that Pierce Brosnan was connected to this, but now I'm like, I'm on board. I'm excited now.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good casting, honestly. The little I know about Dr. Fate, I think it is kind of interesting. Gary Whitta, Whitta, and Jonathan Butel, Betuel, are the writers of a 1984 film called The Last Starfighter, and they have made a concept reel for a sequel. And I think that's kind of in hopes to get the sequel moving along. George R.R. Martin has signed a deal with HBO to oversee, I guess, the next batch of Game of Thrones shows for the next 5 years. Supposedly, it's a really big deal in terms of how much cash he's getting, but there's no like actual number set out. Angel Manuel, I hope I said that one right, to direct the next Transformers film with Marco Ramirez to write. It will be a standalone Transformers film away from the previous kind of franchise. James Marsden and Idina Menzel to reprise their roles in the Enchanted sequel, which will be called Disenchanted. That will be getting the Disney Plus kind of exclusive plan. They're not going to do a premiere access thing. So in terms of other DC news, the Flash film adds Ron Livingston as Henry Allen. He will be replacing Billy Crudup, which played Henry Allen previously in the Snyderverse films. And an interesting kind of turn for this director. He's always keeping me on my toes. I kind of feel like he's always doing different stuff. But Cary Fukunaga is going to make a film adaptation of Tokyo Ghost. He will not write it, which I think is a little unfortunate because I do really enjoy him as a writer. But he will only direct it. But I'm still glad to see that he's moving forward. Apparently, he has a lot of other stuff in the works, but this is the only one that I've heard about yet. Yeah. So he's doing this, and No Time to Die will come out sometime in the foreseeable future, but who knows if it'll
sometime
stay.
to die.
Yeah, truly. Sony is making a Bewitched film with Terry Matalas and Travis Fickett.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and they're going to be writing the film, but there's no kind of there's no director, no cast set on it yet. But I can only wonder why they're making this one. What other huge show that came out recently that kind of is a parody of Bewitched? Can only wonder why. I don't know. Maybe some Sony execs watch WandaVision. Uh, Shazam sequel adds Helen Mirren as the villain. And apparently it will have the same creative team behind it as the first Shazam, and will be expected December 22nd. Along with the date December 22nd, we'll start out on all the delays. The Kingsman has been delayed to December 22nd. Shang-Chi, which is a Marvel film, has been delayed to September 3rd. Luca will get the sole treatment on Disney Plus, where it will be free to any of the Disney Plus subscribers. Free Guy has been delayed to August 13th. I know. It breaks everyone's heart. Deep Water is delayed to January 14th, 2022, and Death on the Nile has been delayed to February 11th, 2022.
Wait, what did you say about the King's Man? Because it says it's coming out in December, right? And is that what you said?
Yeah,
December?
On the article I read, it said that it got delayed to December 22nd because I think they were going to try. I could totally be wrong. I think they were going to try and do a summer window. But I guess with everything moving the way it is, they decided to push it back. And then Black Widow also got the delay treatment, although not by much. It's still coming out on July 9th for theaters, and we'll also have a premiere access thing where you pay $30 on top of your subscription and to Disney Plus and whatever. Peter Farley, who previously did Green Book, is working on a new film called The Greatest Beer Run Ever. And we'll have Zac Efron and Russell Crowe. Apple has apparently picked up the movie, so it'll probably be on Apple TV Plus. And Bill Murray is currently considering a supporting role in the film, which I gotta say, it's an awesome title. I mean, The Greatest Beer Run Ever. If it's a buddy film between Zac Efron and Russell Crowe, I think that'd be quite interesting. And then lastly, Kong vs. Godzilla was released early in international cinemas, overseas cinemas, and it has already made 120 million. So it's performing very well. And me and Chris are going to be reporting on that movie next week. So everyone go see Kong vs. Godzilla in preparation.
Everybody get ready. Yeah.
Just like the song, get ready. That's what
Get ready.
Oh yeah, but so it's cool to see that film is. I mean, I just think it's really interesting to see that film is doing that well already, and it hasn't even gotten a huge release yet. But yeah, that's
all right.
That's all we got on the news side.
So it's ad break time.
Ad break.
All right.
All right, and we are back from lovely break.
Yeah, so before I start this our dive into W.C. Fields' comedies of yesteryear, I have a question, Fulton. What about my kumquat?
What about my kumquat? Coming. Probably my favorite scene out of both of the movies. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think you may be right there. But yeah, so this week, I decided that we should watch some old comedies that are kind of overlooked, and I picked two W.C. Fields comedies. It's a Gift from 1934, and also The Bank Dick from 1940, which are kind of the two most popular Fields comedies. And I just thought we could talk about them and kind of, see if they still held up, what parts did, what parts didn't. They're quite short, so
they're very short. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one is hour and 7.
What did you think about It's a Gift and or The Bank Dick?
I'm trying to think of where to start, because I mean, I watched It's a Gift first, and then I watched The Bank Dick, and between the two, you can kind of tell that WC Fields has a persona, and it kind of flows, at least between these two movies. I can't speak for the rest of his career or whatever, or not whatever, but or any of the other movies that he's been in, but he definitely does kind of have the same. He has some parallels that happen. He's kind of a he's kind of an airhead a little bit. He's always got a wife that's yelling at him. The family normally hates him. He
Yeah.
always threatens to hurt a child, and then the wife is like, "Don't you dare lay a finger on him," and he's like, "Oh." And then the line, don't tell me I don't love you," popped up twice. I thought that was kind of interesting. um I guess I'll start with It's a Life, and then I'll move on to the bank dick. I thought It's a Life was
It's a gift.
oh, yeah, I kept wanting to call it It's a Life. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I don't know why. I just keep thinking of It's a Wonderful Life. So my brain keeps going like,
It's a wonderful
pop,
dick.
pop. It's a wonderful day. Oh, I enjoy, I think It's a Life as a whole film more than The Bank Dick, because I think his character in The Bank Dick is a little bit more questionable in terms of like morals. 'Cause I don't feel like he's a very good person in The Bank Dick. But to It's a Life, we mentioned
And it's a gift. No,
oh my god. I'm gonna get it. I'm so sorry.
it's okay.
It's a gift. I like a lot of the sequences a little bit more than maybe in The Bank Dick. Um, it's a Gift has the great sequence of chaotic comedic events that are set in a grocery store that WC Fields runs, and there's this great little bit where you can see him trying to open doors, and then he's trying to open the door to the grocery store, or little corner store, I guess it would be a better name to call it, and then his employees already opened it, and then he's still trying to get it, but it's open. But there's a reason he's trying to open both, and there's an angry customer in yelling for kumquats, kumquats. I want kumquats. And you have a great scene where the patron has to spell it out for him.
When he's having and he has a there's another customer who's blind, who's like who WC Fields is trying to like make sure that he doesn't either destroy merchandise or hurt himself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's the poor guy has to be in two places at once with an angry customer that wants kumquats. But I thought that the best payoff though was when he finally does get rid of the blind man, and the blind man goes on his way after nearly getting killed by a oncoming car. His wife says to him, who walks in to tell him news about how his uncle Bean passed away, which is kind of the thing that, which is kind of like a major plot point in the movie. She says to him, "Are you going to tell him that we don't have any kumquats at the store?" And he's like, "No, don't worry, I'm working on it." And then the guy just leaves.
And then there's a good little payoff later where they're leaving they're leaving the town to go to California, and the car keeps breaking down, and the kumquats dude comes up right behind him. He's like, "I think the car might be broken." And then WC Fields kind of like shrieks, or not shrieks, but he kind of like shivers and gets down, and he's like, "Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
that's that dude so loud." Which I just think is a good little way to kind of bring back up that character.
Something that before I saw the movie, I noticed how front and center baby Leroy was on the poster. And I looked into it, and apparently baby Leroy was quite a star at Paramount for a little bit. It was just this baby that was just in a bunch of movies, but he's not really in the movie that much. Like, he's in like 2 scenes.
I'm assuming he's the molasses kid.
The molasses kid, and then the kid that's like dropping things.
Yeah. Damn, dude. Homie was just trying to sleep. You know,
Yeah,
I feel so bad for her.
Yeah, that's the thing. You really feel I feel a lot. I feel really bad for Fields' character in this one compared to the bank dick, because he's definitely more of a pushover
Yeah.
in this one, where everybody just kind of orders him around. His wife is just always yelling at him, like
Yeah.
about everything, like when the phone rings when they're trying to go to sleep. Because
Oh
like,
man, that was such a the phone rings and then they called the wrong number and it's a maternal hospital, right? If
yeah,
I remember. And then he goes to sit back in bed and she's like, "Who called?" And he's like, "Oh, the maternal hospital called, but they were no, someone was calling for a maternal hospital." And she's like, "Why would a maternal hospital be calling us at this time of night?" So then it
yeah.
creates a spur and it's like, no, it's no, that's not what he meant, that's not what he said. So
And then so he just ends up going to sleep outside. And I think that's what kind of, from a filmmaking perspective, I think that has the best. That's probably the best part of the movie,
mhm,
because I really liked how it was how it was just a wide shot of the porch, which was kind of like an apartment complex of like two. It was like two stories,
mhm,
and there were like people upstairs, and then there was WC Fields below,
mhm,
and it had like, outdoor stairs and stuff, and people were walking up, and I thought it was really a really nice uninterrupted shot that kind of reminded me of a Jerry Lewis film that I watched last week, The Ladies Man, which I mean, I wouldn't, I probably, I didn't look it up, but I definitely think that Lewis was inspired when he was directing
mhm,
that by It's a Gift, by the way that he shows kind of a similar thing with a house, and
mhm,
it's like how it's just a completely open shot of just people walking around freely.
mhm.
uh but I mean, that it's a
Do you
movie
think
from the
Ari Aster took from It's a Gift in his Hereditary movie?
I mean, maybe maybe Ari may have
Isn't
been
there a
inspired.
scene where it's like the side profile of the house and you can see everyone in their own rooms? I'm
In
thinking,
Hereditary.
yeah,
Well,
maybe
yeah,
I'm
because it's
thinking, yeah,
because like Tony Collette, like, remember, she's like building models and stuff.
that's right, that's
Yeah.
right.
uh Yeah, but I think as a movie from the early 30s, there's definitely, some dated editing
Mm,
choices.
yeah.
Like, I feel like the way that things kind of shift to one scene to the next are kind of can kind of be lacking sometimes, and that's why I think I found, as far as the film is constructed, I think The Bank Dick I liked more.
Mhm.
But I don't know, It's a Gift has some great scenes, especially with especially his son. I think his son is hilarious. Like,
He's
he's like
always on roller skates.
his son's like a sociopath. Like,
Yeah. He
like
said he's insane, man. He's yelling every scene that he's got. Which fits a little kid kind of type deal, a little energetic kid, but he's like, "Dad, when are we gonna go to California?"
Dad, now that I sure hope that Uncle Bean
Yeah.
kicks the bucket so we can go to California.
Dad, guess who died? Ooh, which is a great response from him because it fits his character and not paying attention at the breakfast table.
And then like as they're like going over like the bumpy like
That
dirt
was an awesome
hills,
scene.
and he has like, and the kid's like blowing the horn, and it's just like making this really funny, like, kind of avant-garde-ish noise.
There was I forget exactly what WC Fields' character calls them, but he's like, "I'm gonna show these mud dusters," and then it like drifts off into the farmland, and they're bumping up and down like you were saying. It's a great little scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think that I wrote, in my notes, that if Chaplin's tramp is kind of a mousy, bumbling but sensitive kind of protagonist, and like
Mm,
Keaton is like kind of this strong-willed, uh kind of klutzy, but kind of still, I don't know, kind of still has like that more masculine like trait, and kind
mm,
of is always like kind of stone faced, isn't as emotional or affected as things. Then like Fields is kind of like this more like middle aged, like everyman that like just drinks heavily, but is kind of in more of the tradition of like a Keaton, where he definitely isn't as, he just, he kind of gets walked over, but at the same time, he's definitely like this manly dude. He goes to the bars, he's just always drinking and stuff.
Particularly more in the Bank Dick. He's like, I think maybe like 40% of the film takes place in the Black Pussy Cafe. Which
Yeah,
is an interesting name too for for a bar,
I know. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if I remember correctly, Fields was like later in his career, he was like a huge alcoholic. Like he was actually as much of a drinker as the on-screen persona would imply him to be. But I think that in the Bank Dick, there's also some like great gags that he does with an earlier role from Shemp Howard, actually, from the Three Stooges. He was he's the bartender. And
I didn't
then
know that, but that's really cool to know that.
Yeah, it's an underrated stooge. He was growing up, I watched a lot of the Three Stooges, and I think Shemp was Shemp tended to be my favorite. I liked the Shemp shorts when he replaced Curly. I mean, I like Curly too, but I actually did notice kind of similar mannerisms between Fields and Curly in the Bank Dick. Actually, like every single time that he'd do like the finger twitch thing when like somebody would hit him, that was like very Curly-esque. But yeah, like the Bank Dick is a little bit different from It's a Gift, where, like I said, I think it's better made.
And I can agree with you. I think it flows better as a film rather than
And the guy who directed the Bank Dick was actually Edward Klein, who worked a lot with Keaton with his two-reeler shorts. Like Cops was directed by him, and 1 Week. So those are like, I would say those are like two of Keaton's most famous shorts. And and so like the Bank Dick is more about how Fields is similarly, his family hates him. Nobody respects him. I mean, to be fair, he just drinks a lot. But then he goes to like direct a movie that they just ask him to work on, and then he ends up getting caught up in like preventing a robbery, and they offer him a position at being a security guard for this bank, and he gets talked into selling stocks to his daughter's boyfriend. That's like, and like he ends up like kind of committing embezzlement, and he has to like kind of fix things with everything by kind of like putting the bank inspector on like a bender, which has
I couldn't tell if he poisoned him at the cafe, if the bartender poisoned him, but he was in cahoots with W.C. Fields, because there's that scene where he like he takes like like some little liquid and dips it into his drink and then mixes it up.
Yeah, no, that's what I think. I think he was like, "Yo, Shemp, help me help me poison,
help me juice this guy." Just to quickly clarify, I don't want to contradict myself, and I think I may have. I think I enjoy It's a Gift a little bit more, but I might think that the Bank Take is a better made film. I can't remember what I opened up with. I think I may have said that It's a Gift is a better film. I just don't remember exactly what I said, but because just to highlight one thing, which we briefly talked about, scenes just kind of like continue until they don't, and It's a Gift, and it's kind of a weird kind of little thing.
It's very vignette.
Yeah. But in this film, they actually kind of have a flow to them. But that's kind of what I was talking about with how W.C. Fields' character morally is a little bit more questionable in this film because he talks his future stepson-in-law, or he talks his future stepson into embezzling money from the bank that he works at, and then an issue occurs and he's like, okay, well, we'll just poison him for 4 days straight, until the stepson can get his bonus back, and so he can put that money back in the bank so it doesn't look like anything is stolen.
It's like, and then the I do really like how the bank inspector's name is J. Pinkerton Snoopington.
It is quite a comical name. But I think much like It's a Gift, W.C. Fields does a lot of good physical, like, slapstick comedy. Again, he's always misplacing something. His hat is going somewhere, but he turns out he put it somewhere on his body that he just can't locate immediately. That joke happens a good bit. Not to jump right at the end, but I just kind of want to highlight, I thought the chase sequence was really fun. I thought that was really well made
when he's
at the end. But what were your kind of first impressions of it?
Well, I just thought that the gags were a lot stronger, and I would say that, yeah, as well, like that the chase scene is pretty lovely too, where the car falls apart slowly, which is similar to It's a Gift, where the car also falls apart a lot.
Mhm.
But I do like how the prisoner there, the guy, the robber, is like, give me the steering wheel, and then Fields just like rips the steering wheel and they're just like ripping bits and pieces off with the car. I was curious, like, if there was anything like commentary wise about like the bank, like, in this film, but I don't know if I could really find anything, because, like, I don't know if the movie was like necessarily defending banks, or if they were more just kind of like ambiguous about like what they were, what this film was attempting to say about the our financial institutions.
There's
But
that one line by is it the mom? Is it his wife?
His mother-in-law,
Yeah, where she says something along the lines of like, uh, if it was me, I just would have let him go away, because the family is they currently own they owe the bank a ton of money. I forget what the reasoning is. I think it's they might like foreclose on the house or something like that, if they don't repay the money soon. And then so the mom, the in-law, is like, I would have let him take the money, because that would have been less money that we had to give him back, or something like that, along the lines of that. There's a few comments like there, but I get what you mean, where it's nothing like, they never like complete the circle in terms of like making a huge argument for or against them.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I'd agree, because I think I also have to think about like when this film was made, kind of right after the Depression, and it's kind of like, I could just imagine that most people's views of the banks were not really the most positive at the time. But yeah, there's also nice little bit of slide whistles used whenever funny things happen.
Oh yeah, I forgot that they do have some pretty funny sound effects in this film. That's lacking, I must say, in It's a Gift.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, I don't think there's like any sound effects, but I always did really love
that part where he like that part where he like takes like that thing that he thinks is like grapes from like the woman's hat when he's like on the phone, and he like bites into it, and it makes like just the worst crunching noise possible. I don't know, there's just something so great about like Fields's like on-screen presence, like just kind of like just this, like, he's just a guy that doesn't exist anymore, I think, is the best way to put it. Like, just like this dude that like
If
It's
he
kind of
does,
like,
it's like the Ben Affleck character in A Way Back.
yeah, it's like,
That's
that's those are our types of heavy drinkers in
yeah.
film. But we don't have a portly dude with kind of with a big nose that smokes a cigar and has a New York accent, that we've lost that. And then it's, and it's sad.
It is truly sad. Um, I hadn't even thought about if kind of if the character or caricature is still around this. That's an interesting thing. I just gotta hold on, I gotta pick up something really quick. Okay, picked it back up.
Okay.
Sorry, I just
Nice.
had to get that through really
Uh,
quick. I just couldn't let it stay on the floor. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I don't blame you. Yeah, yeah, this was
Sorry.
actually his third, no, his like second to last movie. That
Continue. Sorry.
Well, no, it was like, I mean, he had other appearances, but like his second to last movie where he like starred in a film before he unfortunately passed away. He passed away like 5 years after The Bank Dick came out or 6 years in 46. So
it was interesting to hear him name drop Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton. I believe he mentioned someone else, but there's a scene early, like in the first act, where he's talking to the director and he's like, oh, I showed Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton and blah 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 what they know today. I think he said he like helped them with their comedy or something. There's a kind of offhand comment about that. I do like how I thought it was interesting how the whole him being a director thing is kind of present for the beginning and the ending of the film, but like the middle of it is kind of just him like going around the town and doing the things that he needs to. There was one of the bits that I thought was kind of funny, where I did genuinely laugh just because I didn't actually expect it. There's this lady and she's with her son in the bank, and the son is dressed up as a cowboy and he has a little little PP shooter type gun, and he comes out of the president's office and he sees it and he's like, oh, and then he goes up to the son and he like grabs the son by like the neck and like wrangles him a little bit. And I was like, I didn't expect him to, to play into the police officer role so much to where he'd choke a child out.
or yeah, like, or when or how the president of the bank is like, listen, I know that you're trying to protect the bank, but you can't be like telling like kids to like not have like their toy guns in the bank. Like that's too far. I guess it, probably looking a little too deep into it, but we can look at what happens to humans when they're given a little bit of authority, like Fields as security guard of this bank. He's gone. He goes mad.
He is the Dick Bank. The bank dick. I mean,
he is the Dick Bank. Did you I didn't know what a beefsteak mine was, which is what which is what he convinces his daughter's boyfriend to buy stock in.
I thought it was made up at first. I still did you look into it?
Well, I mean, a beefsteak is a type of steak, but they're not mining cows. But it is also a type of tomato, apparently. So maybe that. I don't know. There are just a lot of things in this movie that are in both of these movies where they'd say, and I'd be like, I don't know what that is at all. Like there's this one gag with the two people that are like talking really loud while he's trying to sleep outside, and it's a gift, and they're talking about getting Ipecac, which was apparently like this drug that was kind of popular.
I've heard of Ipecac before.
You have heard of Ipecac?
Yeah, it's pretty strong, I want to say.
Yeah, it was like some type of I don't know. It's like some drug that I don't even know what it does.
I think it was a painkiller, and I could totally be wrong, but I want to say it was along the lines of that. Because isn't it like in that scene that the mom's like, you can get Ipecac or aspirin? I forget what the other thing was,
Maybe.
but that is a good scene. I do really like. I forgot about that scene. Just
Well,
to
the
kind
way
of like,
that
yeah. Mhm.
well, the way that they talk kind of reminded me of that short that I don't know if you've seen, but I'm quite a fan of, called Possibly in Michigan. If
I
that
haven't seen
sounds
that.
familiar. But that short from the 80s, they kind of have the same type of dialogue, and it's like, I'll get the Ipecac. And it's like it's very like disjointed in the
Mhm.
flow of dialogue, and that was what it like reminded me of. So I don't know, maybe Cecilia Condit, the
Mhm.
director of Possibly Michigan, also a big Fields head like Jerry Lewis, with or at least a fan of It's a Gift.
Mhm. Um, just to kind of talk about that scene a little bit more. They also utilize, I want to say they utilize the widescreen still because it's in the back of the apartment, and it's like these porches, and this daughter comes out. She lives on the top porch, so she walks and jumps down each stair until she gets to the very bottom, and then she gets to the bottom and the mom comes out on the top porch, and have in mind the WC Fields is on the middle porch, and he's trying to sleep, and the mom comes out and yells like, wait, you can get blah blah blah, medicine, and she's like, oh, I thought you wanted me to get Ipecac. And then so they keep going back and forward and back and forward over which one to get, and both of them are in the same, the both of them are like-minded and saying like, I don't care which one you want, but you can get this one. And then the other one's like, oh mom, I don't care, I can get the other one. And then it just keeps revolving and revolving. And I thought that was a pretty good sequence. It's well shot too, in terms of like in terms of blocking and placement and everything.
Yeah.
you
And I
know
think I think if I'm kind of speaking for both of us
Mhm.
when I say that I think that a lot of these gags are quite timeless in a lot of
Mhm.
ways,
Yeah.
and I think they still were quite funny back in
Mhm.
the day. Like I do think that, like I said, It's a Gift is a bit disjointed with how it's kind of formatted, but at the beginning, definitely those two gags, mainly in the store, and then also when he's trying to go to sleep, I think are hilarious stuff. It's like hilarious stuff that I've still been thinking about since I've seen it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more with you on that one.
Uh
I'm trying to think of if there anything else that I can kind of remember. I don't, did you have any final kind of notes you wanted to put on it?
no real final notes, except for I would say watch The Bank Dick first,
Mhm.
probably is my recommendation, because I think you'd have a better time with it, and it's probably a little bit easier to get into it because of how it's more like it's you're more used to how the film is set up.
Mhm.
And then maybe if you like it, then go watch It's a Gift. But I think Fields is somebody that you should be checking out. He's
Mhm.
people speak, I know a lot of people speak highly of him, but he definitely seems to be eclipsed by a lot of other older comedic talent still in
Yeah.
the overall cultural zeitgeist.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. I recommend both of these. I think also if you're trying to get into, maybe you want You know, if you do Instagram comedy and you're looking for some sick new slapstick comedy that you just need some ideas, and maybe check out this. Or if you want to write, you know, slapstick comedy or just you know, situational humor too as well. I think these are good kind of reference points to maybe get some inspiration from.
There's that on cinema at the cinema Oscar party scene. There's that part from the Oscar party where they hire the W.C. Fields impersonator guy.
I still need to see that one. I forgot when I watched it last night that I needed to watch that one.
But he does a really good job. Like, so his spirit still lives on in that guy.
Does he have a cameo? Maybe we can get him on.
Yeah, I bet he does have a cameo or something like that. Yeah, I'd love to pay that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess, are we ready to announce next week's feature film?
Yeah, you go right at it.
All right. Me and Chris are trying to do some Oscars catch up to a certain extent. And so we are going to, next week's feature film is going to be last year. Sorry about that. Last year's Another Round, which has podcast favorite Mads Mikkelsen in it. And we're pretty excited to watch that. So be on the lookout for that next week, next Tuesday.
That's right. All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, everyone, hope you're safe.
Can we quickly watch the W.C. Fields video?
Yeah, we can. Did you want to do it after? Are we watching it? Are we doing a live watch?
Yeah, here, wait. I'll just make a watch together quickly. It's apparently this guy just plays a fictionalized version of himself. Sadly, he's not actually a professional W.C. Fields impersonator. He's showing up on all.
Are we watching it during the podcast, or should I end the podcast?
Oh no, yeah, you can end the podcast. Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, stay safe until next time.
All right, yeah. Stay safe and stay wavy, guys, until next time.